What's going on, people? It's been about 2 weeks since I've done an album review. Just been kind of busy doing black guy stuff, working, sleeping, writing, more work, more sleep, all that hoorah. But back again, and the album I want to discuss is Boonie Mayfield presents Solomon Vaughn. For people who don't know who Boonie Mayfield is, he's a producer slash MC from Colorado. He also goes under various different names. If you know him from his YouTube series, he went under the name Boondock / Boonie Mayfield. His YouTube series was called Boon Documented. And Solomon Vaughn is kind of his alias when he, hits the mic and becomes, an actual artist, rapping and singing and doing all that. He got known and pretty much gained most of his notoriety from his YouTube videos. He had a YouTube series called Boon Documented, which displayed pretty much his talent as an artist. You get to see him. He has videos of him just making beats. You get to see him play instruments. Dude is pretty much a one-man band. He plays all his instruments, records all his stuff, as well as, writes all his own songs. And you get to see that on display in his videos. He has a lot of different creative videos on his channel. I'll probably put a link in the description below. You can go check that out. And also, along with his YouTube videos, his last release, I think it was his only release, was an instrumental project called Black Kool-Aid, which got him a little bit more notoriety as well as his YouTube videos did. And now here we go. This all, the YouTube series plus Black Kool-Aid is the lead up to this kind of debut. This is like his big, introduction to the world as an artist, because before he wasn't really on the mic that much, but this, under his alias Solomon Vaughn, he's on the mic every track, as well as showcasing his production skills. And to get straight into the album, first thoughts after my first listen was I loved how diverse this album was. You got a lot of different sounds, instrumentation wise, topic wise, delivery wise. You can tell that he's clearly influenced, that he's not just a hip hop head. You hear elements of funk, soul, jazz, a little bit of pop, all fused in with a hip hop sound, and he definitely makes it work. And to complement the diverse production, he also has a diverse delivery on some of these tracks. Some of them, he's doing, I guess, standard, just kind of just rapping over the track. Other tracks on like the more like soul funk driven ones, he's kind of doing his little singing thing, but he pulls it off, easily. It doesn't sound forced or like he's, one of those guys that's trying to, just do another genre just because it's different. You can tell that this is music that he probably grew up listening to, because he pulls it off so easily, and it sounds genuine when he does it. Content wise, he's also all over the place. This album altogether was kind of all over the place, but in a good way. Content wise, you got some self-reflection, kind of personal, introspective tracks. You get relationship themed tracks. I love the kind of the funk soul driven tracks, because he definitely pulls off that old school feeling really good. You get some of those tracks like that. And another thing he did that not a lot of artists seem to do nowadays is he uses some skits. I remember back in the day, you would get skits on a lot of albums, and maybe you get one or two skits, but nowadays for whatever reason, skits seem to have kind of phased out. But he has about 16 tracks on this album, and I think 3 of those are skits. Mostly, they're there for comedic value, but they're good segues into the tracks that follow them. They're good ways to lead into them. And again, to some standout tracks. I love the opening track on here, The Wonder Years, which is probably one of the more it's a really chill way to open the album. It's one of the more laid back tracks on here. I love the line on here. He had a line talking about he was watching Martin and how he wanted dibs on Pam because everybody else seemed to pick Gina. I thought that line was pretty dope. Haterade was another good track on here, pretty much talking about the criticisms that he gets, as well as as other popular artists gets. He talks about, fashion choices, and how when some artists, they start off just recording and then they want to act, and fans get mad because they're trying to do both and all of that. And he has a good way. He expressed that really good in that track. I also love the instrumentation on that track too. Audiopium was another track featuring Jordan Kraft. Probably I'm going to say my second favorite track on here. The beat was just extra chill. Just so chill on here. And it's pretty much him, comparing, good music to opium. My only knock on that track was that it was I think it was only about a minute and something long. It wasn't that long of a track. Mile High was another dope track. This is one of the tracks that displays his diversity as a, producer and an artist. It's a 7-minute track of just, I don't even know how to describe it. It's really just spaced out. It's real trippy. He has these really kind of this effect he puts on his vocals that kind of add to that trippy kind of feel. And at the end of the track, he says, "It feels like a koala bear just pooped out a rainbow in my brain," which is pretty much, that's a good way to describe the track. That is pretty much what it felt like. Yeah, who knows what that really feels like? Well, you get the point. Blade Brown was another dope cut off of here. I love the kind of, once again, he displayed that funk kind of influence on this track, on the beat, and as well as his delivery. Can of Damn, which is probably my favorite track on here, featuring Ill University. I think this was like his best display of that mix of hip hop mixed with like funk and kind of a rock feel to it. I love the guitars on here. His delivery, the way he did kind of a singing thing on this track. But this is my favorite. It was just a perfect blend of all the genres, and it came out to just a really, really dope track. Since I Found You, featuring Gian Morris. I hope I'm saying that right. I think it's Gian Morris. That was one of the relationship themed tracks. Pretty much just talking about how, it's pointing out the flaws in his partner, but even though she does, those little minor things that gets on his nerves, he still appreciates her as, has his chick, and he's still gonna be with her regardless. And I like the closing track also, Closure. And the album ends kind of just the way it starts, on a very introspective and personal note. But yeah, overall, can't say there were really many tracks on here that I didn't like. I mean, there were some, of course, I liked better than others. But overall, man, this was a really good, interesting listen. I would say you got to go into this album kind of with your mind open, because it's definitely not just your standard like hip hop album. You'll find out quickly within a few tracks. You might get comfortable with kind of the hip hop vibe he starts out with, and then once you get toward the middle and latter half of the album, the sounds completely flip into all the different genres and influences that he dives in. So you can't ever really get too comfortable listening to this, because it goes in so many different directions, but it still fits together. And it also helps that, like I said, even when he dips into these different genres and styles, he pulls them off, really good. It doesn't come out as forced, or he's just trying to try it. You can tell that, these were influences and things he grew up with, and it comes out in his music. But yeah, overall, I'd say, man, give this a listen. I'll put a link in the description to his website, as well as his Indiegogo campaign, because this album is actually free. But if you donate to his Indiegogo, I believe the lowest donation you can do is $15, and that'll at least get you a hard copy of the CD. He also has other packages and other options, donation options on there. But I'll put a link to that below. Like I said, it's free. You can stream it from the website or just download it. It's definitely a guy I think people should look out for, man. He's a talented musician as well as an artist. It'd be interesting to see how far he can go, just because of how diverse he is as an artist. I think he has hopefully a long career ahead of him, because of how talented he is. Even if he doesn't make it, super big, just as a musician, he should be able to carry himself for a while. But yeah, if you listen to it, let me know what you think. If you haven't, and if you're new to him and this is your first introduction and you listen to it, let me know what you think. Did you like it, hate it? But yeah, I'm not one much for ratings, but I'll just say go check it out. And hopefully next time I get to y'all, it won't be 2 weeks later. I try and do a review every week, but things come up, life happens or whatever. But I'll try and get back with y'all soon. But until next time, deuces.